Imagine you are a caveman, and it's 40,000 years ago, in the middle of an ice age. Your body has no fur, your skin is bare, and the wind feels like 1,000 tiny knives. You have exactly two choices tonight. Find a way to cover your skin, or freeze to death before sunrise. This single freezing night, repeated for thousands of years, is the actual reason you are wearing a shirt right now? So today, we are going on a journey to answer one simple but wild question. When and why did humans actually start wearing clothes? And I promise you, the answer involves lice, sewing needles, and a surprising amount of human vanity. Let's rewind the clock about 2 million years, way before clothes even existed. Back then, our ancestors were covered head to toe in thick body hair, just like other apes. That fur was basically a built-in jacket, so nobody needed pants or sweaters. But then something strange happened. Our ancestors started losing that fur over time. Scientists believe we lost our body, hair to become better runners and to sweat more efficiently while hunting. Less hair meant our sweat could evaporate faster, which kept our brains from overheating during long hunts. This was a great trade for hunting in Africa's heat, but it created a brand new problem. Naked skin is fantastic in a hot desert, but absolutely useless once you wander into a cold climate. And around this time, some of our ancestors, like early Homo sapiens and Neanderthals, began migrating out of Africa. They walked straight into Ice Age Europe, where winters could easily kill an unprotected human in hours. So how do we actually know when humans first solved this problem with clothing? Here's the wild part. Scientists didn't find the answer in old fabric. They found it inside lice DNA. Yes, the same tiny bugs that make your head itch actually helped solve this ancient mystery. There are two types of human lice: head lice that live in our hair, and body lice that live in our clothing. Body lice cannot survive on bare skin. They absolutely need fabric to hide and lay their eggs in. This means body lice could only have evolved after humans started wearing clothes, not before. In 2011, researchers led by scientist Melissa Toops studied the DNA of body lice to estimate when they first evolved. Their genetic research estimated that clothing lice, and therefore actual clothing, appeared around 170,000 years ago. That number lines up almost perfectly with the timing of a major ice age and human migration out of Africa. In other words, clothing wasn't some random invention. It was a genius survival tool invented under brutal pressure. So picture an early human, freezing, clever, and desperate, looking at an animal hide lying on the ground. That hide used to keep a deer or a mammoth warm, so why not wrap it around a human body instead? This simple idea, wrapping dead animal skin around a cold human body, was humanity's very first jacket. At first, this wasn't fashion at all. It was pure, desperate survival technology. But simply draping a loose hide over your shoulders only gets you so far. In an actual blizzard, loose skins can slip off, leave gaps, and let freezing wind sneak right through to your bare skin. This is where humans made an absolutely genius upgrade: the invention of the sewing needle. Archaeologists have discovered bone needles with tiny eye holes, dating back around 40,000 years ago. These needles allowed early humans to actually stitch pieces of hide together into fitted, wearable clothing. Suddenly, clothes could be shaped to fit arms, legs, and torsos, sealing out the cold far more effectively. Some scientists believe this single invention, the needle, is actually why Homo sapiens outlasted the Neanderthals. Neanderthals mostly wore simple draped hides, while our ancestors had tailored, fitted, insulated clothing. In an ice age where every single calorie and every degree of body heat mattered, that difference could be life or death. So in a strange way, a simple needle and thread may have helped decide which human species actually survived. Now here's where the story gets even more interesting, because clothing didn't stay just about survival for long. Once humans had warm bodies, their clever brains started asking a completely new question. Could clothing mean something more? Archaeologists have found ancient beads, shells, and ochre pigment dating back over 100,000 years, used purely for decoration. This tells us that early humans were dyeing and decorating their coverings long before anyone called it fashion. Clothing slowly transformed from just a shield against the cold into a way to say something about yourself. A necklace of shark teeth could tell others, "I am a skilled hunter. Don't underestimate me." A specific pattern or color could signal which tribe you belonged to and who your allies were. Clothing had quietly evolved from a tool against the weather into a tool for human social communication. This is honestly the exact same reason you might choose a nice shirt for a first date today, or the reason a fancy suit instantly makes someone look more powerful and more trustworthy in a business meeting. We think we're being purely practical with our clothing choices, but our Ice Age ancestors already knew the secret. What you wear has never just been about your body. It has always been a message to everyone around you. As human societies grew larger and more complex, clothing took on an even bigger job, marking hierarchy and power. In ancient Egypt, only pharaohs and priests were allowed to wear certain colors, fabrics, and specific jewelry. In ancient Rome, the color purple was so expensive and rare that only emperors were legally allowed to wear it. This purple dye came from a rare sea snail, and producing just 1 gram required thousands of crushed snail shells. So for centuries, clothing color literally represented raw political and economic power. Clothing also became deeply tangled with religion, modesty, and cultural identity across nearly every human civilization. Certain garments became sacred, certain coverings became requirements, and certain styles became forbidden entirely. What began as a simple animal hide protecting us from the cold slowly became one of the most powerful symbols in human history. Today, the fashion industry alone is worth well over $1.5 trillion worldwide. We now own closets overflowing with options. Yet the core reason behind it all hasn't changed one bit. We still dress for protection, we still dress for belonging, and we still dress to say who we are. So let's come back to our shivering ancestor from the very beginning of this video. That desperate decision to wrap a dead animal's skin around a freezing human body changed absolutely everything. It allowed humans to survive freezing climates that would have killed any other bare-skinned primate on Earth. It may have quietly helped decide which human species lived on, and which ones eventually disappeared forever. And it slowly transformed from a simple survival tool into one of the most personal parts of human identity. So the next time you get dressed in the morning without even thinking about it, pause for just 1 second. That simple shirt on your back carries 170,000 years of freezing nights, clever needles, and quiet human pride. You are not just covering your skin, you are wearing the entire story of how humanity learned to survive. And maybe that's the real reason getting dressed never feels like just putting on fabric. It feels like putting on who we are.